Ready whenever you folks are.
Well, that's more people were supposed to be coming.
Yep, no worries.
Good.
I said in my kitchen, and so my husband had just a regular radio in his office. And we play the same station, like I play, if you tune in or whatever, and he plays it just over the radio. Wait, no. Like, Jane was on. I mean, it's almost like a, you know, like around, right? Like everybody's row.
Or if you're a musician.
But we're not far off the.
I guess it's just the difference between the internet, and going over the internet versus radio waves.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it looks like it works for a lot of classes, especially for Oakley.
That's why we run singing happy birthday on Zoom. It comes out here.
It was kind of year faster.
Or if you do it at home, you ever do a group on Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that is weird, that you're done.
Yeah,
Playback is a bit weird.
yeah. That happened, when was the sewer leak?
When was what?
The sewer leak. It was,
You know, oh, it was the same day that Spawns was doing cleanup, right, today it said it, no. It was a green team day there, the July green team, but 13. Wait.
no, we did it, we talked.
No, it was before then because someone told him.
Said she was the one who was with the green tea doing the cleanup, they smelled it, and then they alerted the county, and the county told spawners, or then she called spawners, and that's how spawners.
We heard it was an unhoused person who alerted somebody.
That's so
And then they like it.
Yeah, the cleanup person, but then spawners, it was the day before spawners was doing that thing with the same house.
Yeah.
Paint was color.
That's a filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, that's filter.
I think so far, so yeah.
So you can turn it black and then you take your finger and then look back.
Very tasty.
So you had to leave early too, when I heard. You were you over at the chamber, Victor?
No.
Who else was that?
Judy's over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really.
I really love my I understand.
Can you hear us?
That's how you get into that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get started.
Okay.
Do you call it or?
You folks call to order.
Hi, well, welcome everybody to the El Sobrante Municipal Advisory Council Subcommittee for cleanup and beautification here in El Sobrante. Our goal is to keep El Sobrante clean and make it even more beautiful than it already is. And we welcome all ideas and participation from people here in this area, and you don't have to actually live in El Sobrante. You welcome to live in Richmond as well, San Pablo, and all. So, just want to give you a quick overview before we get into the updates on some other organizations that are busy doing good things in our area. And we don't even take roles.
We can. I think we should, yeah.
Introduction.
So I'll start off.
Yeah.
Mickey Norris,
Yeah.
Dr. Melinda McLean, absent. Sue Boudreau.
Yeah.
We have a quorum.
All right, so I just wanted to give a quick update since our last meeting was before the event that we had, which was a very successful event in April. And we had a great turnout of volunteers in the community, and all those things river and clean up the creeks that day, and we had a really nice, after event as well for the cleanup, but we had it somewhere around 130 volunteers working all over the area, so that was exciting. We had a dumpster that we pretty much filled, and with the help of SOS, our Richmond, and the senator here, who also helped to clean up some of the encampments that day and took them a lot of trash straight to the dumps. For us, that was great. We had a lot of people tabling here. We had some nice children's activities. Sue led some recycled art activities, and Maggie also had a wonderful little activity that actually a lot of adults liked, which was peanut butter pie. Yes, and that we found out that the squirrel just love it. So and we had some music by Chris and Louise, who's on Zoom here, and Mark, who's not on Zoom. And it was just a really nice event with a lot of tabling from local organizations that fit in this area as well. So that was a good thing. We're going to continue with that, and then we do these major cleanups twice a year. And the next one we're going to talk about later in the agenda, which is Coastal Cleanup Day, National Coastal Cleanup Day, the California Coastal Cleanup Day. And so we'll get to that later. We also have continued with our regular third Saturday cleanups that I hope you all know about and want to help us participate. I think we're making a noticeable difference in the area, which is nice to see when you drive around. Not as much litter as we had. We still have dumping problems, so we're getting better on that and a better handle for littering too. And so to that end, I think we're gonna maybe, if we have some time later, talk about some more public education campaigns that we could get involved in to raise the consciousness and stop littering in the first place. And let people know what resources are available. And if you don't have a card already, we have them up here, do Saturday cleanups. And on the back is a nice resource list here of what to do with your stuff when you want to get rid of things, alternatives to dumping and littering, which is what we're in favor of here. That we really want to admit that. And if you don't have a card, you can also check out the website that Chris here is managing, which is keithelsobrante.beautiful.info. And we try to put the latest events that we have and meetings and any resources and let people know what's going on with our efforts. So we also recently had a dumpster day here in July 8th that filled a lot of the neighbors brought a lot of stuff, right?
Yep.
40 cubic yard dumpster and 20 cubic yard dumpster and metal recycling. And we're gonna have another one at the end of the year, November or something like that.
Yeah.
To be arranged. And so we are going to also be talking about the later on in the agenda, the El Sobrante stroll, because we want to have a presence there, like we did last time. We're gonna have a booth and participate in the parade, and you all are welcome to bring some spirit to that parade. We won the outstanding spirit. Wasn't really an award, but we got recognition. Because we do have outstanding spirit, even in the rain, and hopefully this year will be better one. So that's
It rained.
last year.
I think I was
on
on
on the stroll, it was really rainy.
It rained really hard, yeah.
Harvest bags to protect us, and did our thing and didn't let it stop us, although fortunately, for some weird reason, during the actual parade, it stopped raining. And then it resumed as soon as it ended. So,
Win, the all force wins.
yeah. When the ribbon stopped, that did not deter our efforts of committed residents in this area and volunteers who care very much about our environment and our town and want to do our best by keeping it clean and beautiful and make sure that none of the stuff goes into the creeks and down into the ocean and people are having. So we're going to be participating in the stroll, and that is going to be September 17th, and we'll talk more about that. That's also later on in the agenda. And also on National Coastal Cleanup Day. Now, there's 2 days for that, but in California, we are going to be holding it on September 23rd, a Saturday, which is actually the fourth Saturday. So we're not in September. Normally we have regular cleanup days, and our next one, by the way, is I think April 19th, the 19th.
I think that's what I looked at it before it came.
On the website.
April 19th is our next, August 19th is our next third Saturday cleanup. And we really want to keep it, even though it's looking a lot better, we do want to keep our efforts up to make sure it doesn't get out of control and get it even cleaner. So that's our goals with that, and this committee is, as I said, a committee of the El Sprite Municipal Advisory Council, but we also partner with the other groups here, specifically the El Sprite 940 Green Team, and at times the spawners and also Richmond. So that's a quick overview of what we're up to, and next up on this, Martha, did you want to
Sure, thank you.
give an update on what spawners is?
Thank
Didn't
you.
you have minutes and agendas, any changes to the agenda, that's something that happens at the beginning of the meeting too? I mean, I don't know if there are those, but I mean, just wondering, that usually something you do first, right?
I'm sorry.
If you have minutes from the previous meeting to
Yeah.
approve.
Or you want to go over the agenda, I think that's the only.
Doing some kind of.
Okay, well, we don't have printouts of the agenda, so on the agenda, next up is an update by spawners, the organization that oversees a lot of the creek cleanups. And then we have SOS Richmond, State Organized Spaces Richmond, that deals with a lot of the unhoused population in our area as well. And then we're gonna have somebody from Triangle Works. That's it. Hi. And Carrie. Yes. We'll give an overview of the mural project and their beautification efforts. And then after that, we'll have a discussion and conceptualization of what we want to do for National Coastal Cleanup Day. And then also the stroll and the parade, and then some public education campaign ideas and brainstorm on what other ideas. We're always open to, input, value your input very much on some ideas on how we can keep those around beautiful. So without further ado, Martha.
Thank you.
Martha, would you mind coming in so that people on the hybrid thing can see you? As you see, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
That work?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, maybe you would just say, yeah,
Not used to these hybrid Zoom meetings.
I know.
Okay. here we go.
Very much.
All right, so Martha Berthelsen with Spawners. We had a creek cleanup on July 8th in cooperation with the Watershed Project, which is our parent organization, and SOS. Maybe I should just mention Spawners stands for San Pablo Watershed Neighbors Education and Restoration Society. We've been working in El Sobrante since the year 2000. We held our first Earth Day. Anyway, on Saturday, July 8th, we got approximately 8 cubic yards of trash, and that was around 2,000 pounds. Most of the heavy stuff, courtesy of SOS. We had a crew of about 12, I think, total people from the 3 organizations. Cleaned up the old debris from homeless encampments underneath the bridge. That was really SOS's job.
And when
There's
you say bridge, you mean
the Gaping Way Bridge, yeah, that's a popular camping spot, it's, I think most of us know. There's still one active tent there, we didn't touch anything that was in use. We just completely cleaned up a lot of old stuff. And maybe in Neil's update, could elaborate on that if he wants to. With the watershed project, we do a trash assessment because that information is sent to the county. And the most common items that spawners and watershed project picked up that was scattered over the creek bank was primarily plastic bags and food wrappers. And they use this data to try to look at, what are the sources of trash and what might be done in the future to kind of control that. The third item that usually comes in a lot of cleanups is styrofoam pieces. I've actually seen a little less styrofoam locally. We still need to work on styrofoam. It just breaks into little pieces really easily. It floats, animals easily ingest it, goes down the creek in the bay, becomes the microplastics that get into our environment, including our food chain. Anyway, so the goal is, green team gets it first, it's on the street. Then if it makes its way to the creek, then we try to get it, and then coastal cleanups, it's at the beaches, and once it's out in the ocean, it's really hard to clean up. But there's organizations working on that too. Anyway, it's a big issue. Upcoming, we have a nature walk, which is a bird walk with Golden Gate Audubon. We'd love anybody who's interested to attend. That will be Saturday, July 29th. We're going on to the East Bay Mud Trail by Rionis Reservoir. And August 26th, we're planning an ice cream social here at the library. So invite people, anybody who wants to come for ice cream and a tour of the garden and combination of information about the history of the site and the landscaping projects. The gardens are a real patchwork and history, how it all got put together is kind of interesting. We have, that's the August 26th. We have regular work days at our Wilkie Creek site where we have an outdoor classroom and native plants along Wilkie Creek at the back end of the Anza High School. That's also on the third Saturday of every month. Update on what we do.
What you said, so you said, an ice cream social at the library, then after that you said something else.
Every third Saturday, we have a volunteer work day at our Wilkie Creek site, which is behind the Anza High School.
What is the time of the ice cream social?
We haven't sent out the announcement yet. I think we decided on 2 o'clock. We will send out the announcement to our mailing list, and if the green team wants to share it, that would be awesome.
If it's the third Saturday, it seems like that's a direct overlap between,
It is.
Well, we've been, like I said, we've been in operation for 20 years plus.
Yeah, we just happen to pick the same day before we even.
So on that day, we clean up streets and creeks.
Right.
Every third Saturday.
Well, we're focused on our third Saturday, we're focused on the Wilkie Creek side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
Which
when
is
you
more
have the
native plant.
major cleanups, or you have the special cleanup, like on July 8th, you said you took care of this.
Yeah, we do that once a year with the trash assessment. That's why we don't do it on Earth Day or Coastal Cleanup, because we do a trash tally in conjunction with the watershed project. Because like I said, they send that information to the county. So that's definitely once a year. And then the Earth Day and Coastal Cleanup are regular activities. We've done Earth Days, except for the pandemic, of course, for most of our existence. We haven't done a lot of coastal cleanups because they're usually so close to the stroll. But in the last 2 years, the dates have worked out better, and partnering with Green Team works out because then the workload's spread out. So
Yeah.
it's been.
Who runs the coastal cleanup?
The coastal cleanup is actually an international event. It's what is that, third Saturday, second Saturday?
You know,
of September?
I think it is really amazing.
Basically, they try to do it the month of September.
Mhm.
I think the international event this year is the weekend before. The California cleanup is the 23rd, right?
Mhm.
So it's all over the world. So in California, it's the Coastal Commission.
Oh, yeah, it's 23rd.
And for West Contra Costa, The watershed project has a website and map showing where all the different groups in West Contra Costa are doing cleanups. So it's, pick your local cleanup or pick your favorite beach. Everybody come out and clean up on that day. So it's really powerful because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of volunteers. And they try to do data collection on that day too. Not all sites will do the data collection. You need someone to give instructions and pass out the data sheets and so forth, but a lot of sites do. And there's actually a website for the coastal, California Coastal Cleanup, where you can get past data if you're curious.
Yeah, they even count like cigarette butts and all kinds, the different kinds of trash, so they know what.
Actually, cigarette butts are starting to decline a little bit simply because more places prohibit outdoor smoking.
Oh,
Like you can't smoke at bus stops anymore.
oh,
It's super common if you're outdoors, you just click your butt, right?
yeah,
So maybe people are vaping.
yeah.
This is true. We get a lot of the little cigarette little packages, individual packages. Individual size package servings with a plastic wrapper are just ubiquitous.
So, yeah, I had a couple quick questions. One was when you said about the food wrappers, are you talking about like from grocery stores or fast food? You said with, or both? I mean,
Food wrappers is kind of, there's a separate category for rigid containers, but that's not wrappers. Wrappers would be like your chip bag, your granola bar wrapper, any little wrapper that comes around a food item that's sold. So grocery bags from the stores now is plastic bag. For a while, we were seeing a little bit less of those, the plastic bag bans, but since the pandemic, when we just go back to using reusable cloth bags.
Then I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the spill, the food spill.
Oh, great, thank you, that was in my notes, and I went right over it. So June 17th, the wastewater district discovered a spill, partly courtesy of an unhoused person coming to talk to the green team and meeting it with the right person. Spawners had actually gotten a notification 2 weeks before from a local resident, but when I checked it out, I couldn't find anything or identify anything at the time. My error not to check again, but when I couldn't find anything, wasn't anything I could report. Anyway, it turns out it was a blockage in the sewer line that went to an overflow pipe, and the overflow pipe leaked, and sewage was going into the creek just upstream of the Aping Way Bridge. And wastewater district said they called in public health, but for some reason, they were at the last MAC meeting, we had a little discussion about this. For some reason, public health decided there was no hazard to the public at the time. And at the MAC meeting, I kind of challenged that. I definitely challenged. Because
It's not serious.
even though you can't see chunks, that doesn't mean the bacteria are there. I know, I've done water quality check. A bacteria test takes time. You gotta take a sample, you gotta take it to a lab, it's gotta run. You can't find out immediately if there's bacteria in the creek. And they were totally ignoring the residents downstream. Both people with homes and people without homes live downstream. And the wastewater district staff did show up to the MAC meeting. It appeared that they were taking the incident seriously and realizing that they needed to improve their communication. I think they were just amazingly oblivious of what would need to happen in terms of public notification. And so we're going to move forward with that, have some meetings, hopefully coordinated by Joya's office with the wastewater district and possibly with East Bay Mud. And my goal is to have both spawners and the green team able to help disseminate information on if there's anything going on, and also just inform people what to look for and who to report it to. Right now, there's 5 agencies that are in charge of water in the creek. And there's the wastewater district, there's East Bay Mud, there's a regional water quality control board that's part of the state agency, there's state fish and wildlife, and then there's public health. We need to have a better channel of communication so residents can report problems. And so when there is a problem, agencies can notify us.
If you smell it, tell it.
Excellent slogan. And, you know, some basic information like, well, does it smell like it's chemical of any kind? Does it smell like sewage? You know, most of us, I think, can kind of recognize something like that. And so that's the wastewater. And there's a phone number on their website. But, you know, unless you have some idea that it's there and who to call, not everybody, you know, I talked to 4 residents that live, you know, within 6 or 7 houses downstream. And most of them said, yeah, I kind of smelled something funny, but I didn't know what to do about it. So that's a big hole in communication with agencies, between agencies and agencies to people. Wastewater district is, their board members are elected. They're a public agency. They serve us. In this case, they did not serve us very well.
And they were gonna look into teaming up with ED1 to use their system to get the word out to people.
Right. That was an excellent thing that came up at the meeting. I think Chris mentioned it, right? East Bay Mud already has a system in place for notifying residents who live right along San Pablo Creek. I don't think there's such a system for our tributary creeks. We have Apian Creek, we have Wilkie Creek. It goes through May Road, behind Deion's High School, behind Sheldon School, and there's Castro Creek are the 3 main tributaries. And the spill could happen anywhere there's a spill. If it gets in the street, it's going to go to the creek. Right, that's how storm drain systems work. The water that runs off the street down the storm drain just goes to your nearest stream. So it doesn't matter where the spill is or where you are. You'll end up in that creek. But yeah, it'll be more challenging to get communication for the other creeks, but something it's going to take some time and effort to. Hopefully.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or anybody on the Zoom, Anne Marie?
A question about the storm drains. I think I brought this up last year. I was seeing storm drains down Apian and San Pablo Dam Road. It has a little fish on it. Right. So it goes to the ocean or something like that on it.
Right.
A lot of them had debris and wood and, you know, it's leaves and stuff. But I did know that there's an actual department that monitors those prior to, you know, us having rain and fall coming along. If there's who we would contact and have that looked at, because I did about maybe 7 of them. They're in pretty bad shape. Now those 7 are fine, but it was a lot. It's a lot of drains.
Most places should have regular street sweeping. And that's done by City of Richmond for city territory. They may have a cooperative arrangement to do county areas, I'm not sure. I think it would be county public works. When it comes to residential streets, they ask that people clean their storm drains in front of your house. It's in the street, it's public property, but realistically, are they gonna get around to all the storm drains in the fall, especially when leaves are falling to the beach? I see that as a reasonable public duty for a citizen to do, to take care of your residential street. On public thoroughfares, you know, definitely. Not everybody sees it that way. Some people think that the county should take care of it.
The debate on next door.
Yeah, well, I think what struck me on next door, somebody says it's a shame that a senior citizen should have to go out and clean up the storm drain, and my reaction was, why shouldn't I? I'm perfectly capable. But the shame to me is that other people don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's a debatable item. I was definitely thinking on through there, it should be the county. Public streets, they have a streets division.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Martha. That was great. And we look forward to teaming up with you for the post. So, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Thanks for giving us to get it better. Yeah.
See me, and I think.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm O'Neill with, I'm Director of Programs I'm actually ex-unhoused from the encampments out here. So this is, I don't live out here anymore. This is home for me. I work for SOS, Safe Organized Spaces, as well as Lifelong Medical. All doing outreach for the homeless, in different ways. We have, they said, we've done a lot with the green team, with spawners last 2 weeks ago. We recently upped our game out here. I'll say we created an also running team. So once a week, we have a team between 4 or 5 of our workers that come out to. I'm gonna hand this out, so soon it will be you guys let me know where the encampments you want me to clean, because I'm telling my team where to go and where I know to go, but we really want your guys' response. It's our neighbor Caroline. It's how I know that there's anything I need to know with the unhoused community. And it doesn't have to be unhoused, something you said earlier that made me think about it. It's illegal dumps. We're the ones we cleaned up. I think last Earth Day before or the first Earth Day I worked with, what days ago or something. We started up illegal dumping behind El Bertel Church, Church of Christ, which was, I mean, tons and tons, and we spent about a week nonstop taking just legal dumping. It was a homeless camp, none of that was the homeless people, that was an illegal dump. I haven't seen it recently, I haven't had a chance to go back there yet, but hopefully it doesn't look like it did last time I went there. So really, we want you guys to help us choose, where we're gonna clean. So we have, it said 4 or 5 guys once a week on Mondays, so you may see our team. 2 weeks ago, we just started this 2 weeks ago. We started out at the El Sobrani, across from Rady's. I think we took out, about 2 tons
Yeah,
out of that encampment.
that was crazy.
It's a work in progress. I mean, every time we go there, we take about 2 tons out of there.
What is it?
That's gonna be illegal dumping.
So that's been kind of nice to live out. So a lot of the stuff that we're putting out isn't necessarily all coming from the residents now. That encampment's about 12 years old. But if I'm not mistaken, maybe even older than that. I know the first set of people aren't there anymore. But when I lived there 5 years ago, they said they lived there 10 years ago. So maybe about 15 years that has been, and it's just kind of escalated to what it is now. It's probably, in my opinion, the largest encampment in the greater Richmond area. It's San Pablo, but it's that borderline.
How many people are there?
I'll give you a count, 1 second, I'll get to that part,
Okay.
because this is some information for you guys that want to go, but, we took 2 tons out of there. This week, we had I went with Sohela, the Richmond City Council. Yes, we are a Richmond base, but through her, we were able to do all of El Sobrani, not just Richmond, El Sobrani, everywhere. So unincorporated Richmond areas, we are allowed to go and clean. Some people that you're not so here, we are now allowed to do that as of, I think, April 1st. Sorry, it took us a minute to get here all the time, but we had another encampment of 100+ people that we just closed down. That's why now we have our resources to dump on different areas. So we had a local complaint at PJ's, which is not open right now, the bar. We had a complaint, we went there with Sohela and a couple of our team members. We scouted it out. I went down and crawled down the hills to everybody and talked to the old residents there. So we spent this week, again, I think we took 2 trailer loads. Our trailer is about 1 ton to 2 tons each load. It's a 4-ton trailer, but we don't get 4 tons in there. So we've taken out, I'm gonna guess, around 2 to 3 tons just out of PJ's already. I'm gonna send them back again next week. So it is kind of private property, but it's on the creek. So for people like the spawners, we are, who else is gonna clean it? That's an illegal dump site. She had to put chains up because she couldn't stop the illegal dumping. So they called us. Or gonna do it, sheriff's gonna do it, nobody's responded, we responded. I can't say I'm gonna fix the problem, but I can help it, help resolve and better the problem. So that's what we've done, probably have another day there. So like I said, I know of a lot of the encampments around here, and I'll get into that in my next little thing. But I would like to also clean up where you guys think I should clean up. So this number is really, it comes directly to me, but it's what we call our neighbor's care line. It's how I know. So even if you have a 1-person tent behind your house somewhere, I don't know about it. You call this number, I have my outreach teams, or which I've responded with her back there, she's called me and I've responded. So I can't respond to things I don't know about. Our teams can't respond. Even the county people that I may have to call can't respond if you don't call. So we try to push that out, that it's not just us out there. I need the community's help to help us. So we will eventually clean as much as we can, and we plan to be part of the third Saturdays. I'm sorry, we had another very big event last Saturday and I couldn't get a team out here. But I'm gonna try to get that back on our radar as much as we can, whether it's just an encampment cleanup, I still wanna be a part of it. So. A month ago, I had a request from Sohela to do what SOS is calling a fire hazard outreach. And I thought, what better place to start out El Serrano? I know the places, I know the fire hazards, and what I did was I went to the tip of El Serrano, over the water tower on Rancho Road. Went all the way down. I don't have the exact number of encampments. We did a pig count beginning of this year. They said there's 5 homeless people here. 5, I know 110, I know 110 less than a mile away, that's 5 people living in it. So we know that that's just false. We tried to be the ones that counted El Serrano. They said, no, we got people that know about the place. Okay, fine, but what's going on? Wherever you want me to go, you're paying me, I'll do whatever. We should have did it. I did it. I have 134 people on my account, just in El Serrano. That's including the Radies, which is on that border, but I'm considering that as a part of the El Serrano, in my opinion. You know, those lines are very invisible and they don't know where they stop at. So from Radies to the tip of that, just got word, there's 3 new encampments that I didn't put on my count, so the count could be higher. Some of them are hot spots. Some of them are active. I'm counting all of them. I counted back here. When we cleaned it, no one lived back here. Yes, I found people lived a little bit off of it. No one lived. I'm still gonna say that there's 5 to 10 people here because they may not living here, but they're hanging out here. So I'm calling those hot spots. So from everywhere I went to, I didn't notify if it was active or not. I notified how many people and I rated it. So we went through everything and we rated it, meaning 1 to 5. This encampment needs help. Some of it was even on private property. Not necessarily something we can deal with, but who else is? So I found an encampment, private property, almost 20 people, families, everything. Well, they're on private property. Does the owner know that? Who is going to respond? There's a fire. So I just went and said, okay, well, I'm going to walk down and talk to them. They can kick me out if they want. They did it. They actually came on and open arm and talked to me. So we found a lot of fire hazards out there. What we would like to do, not ideal, I know this isn't what maybe some of the people want to hear, but we need to create a safer place where people can go. I'm not saying that's the solution. We're working on a bunch of things, but there is not enough beds for every homeless person in the town. You know, nowhere near it. There's 1 shelter that has beds, and it's an open shelter where you stay in with 10 people. I didn't want to live like that when I was homeless. You're not gonna stick me in that. I'll sleep on the streets. So I kind of understand it. I actually, while I was sitting on in my last meeting, I just got someone into it, but it's not ideal. So there's not enough beds. Even with that, there's not enough beds. There is some that we're creating. So we're trying to use this fire to identify, rather than you being that 20 people on that private property, which was in the middle of nothing but dead grass. Well, let's move you to a different area that's green. Somewhere safe, because said again, we're not trying to create new encampments. We're trying to create a safer encampment while we get transitioned. So, like also the Radies one, I don't think that's what we're gonna do because that's San Pablo, but it's the greenest encampment around. It's the greenest encampment, and answer your question, we counted that from Rayleigh's to the El Portel. It was roughly 40, it was like between 40 to 60 people back there. When I lived down there 5 years ago, it was about 70 to 80 people out there. So the number has fluctuated between abatements. Bad part about abatement is, then they come to your creek here. Just because you kick them on a derrick doesn't mean that they're getting rid of them. You know, this is where they call home. You know, this is home to them. So whether you kick me out of that encampment, I'm just gonna, my big saying on that is, if you kick me out of your front yard, I'm just gonna be in your back. That's what they're doing, just because you don't see them in your front yard, they're going to be in your backyard. They're going to be on the creek here, they're going to be behind Walgreens. You know, these are all places they call home, and when you kick them out of there, this is where they go. So rather than us kicking them out of there, let's create not a permanent solution, but for the time being, while we're in fire, hazard time, let's get them in a safe place. Let's save the whole town from a big fire. Let's save people, when we can congregate the homeless people into, or sorry, the unhoused people into one area. Now people like SOS, I got all of our service out here because, like I said, this was where I called home. There was nobody. I was out here, I met one outreach team. I was out here for a year and a half, one outreach team came. Hi, how you doing? We're gonna come back. Never saw him again. So my look on it is, if I can get people to be in one safe place, now I can bring the cores. I can bring this, I can bring that. They don't have to find them. I can create more resources to help them get out of that encampment. So one of the things Sohaila has mentioned to us is, if we can create that safe thing, they are opening up an SRO, which is a single room occupancy on El Portal. She wants to see if we can identify that encampment as the first choices into that. So that's the first start. We make it, create a safer place for them to stay, where we bring water, we pick up the trash, we provide a toilet, so they're not using the bathroom in your, on your, in your creeks or behind your businesses. We've done this in other areas. A lot of people think that we are helping it. No, we're not trying to help the issue. But human beings need 4 gallons of water every day to drink it. Would you rather them spit it out of your fire hydrant or your hose? Well, why not let us provide that? Give them a shower. I feel good. I can go find a job. I can talk to SOS. Maybe they'll hire me. But with that new crew, I also have a gentleman out of that ladies encampment that works 3 days a week. One there, one here, one here, one at PJ's, and one along. Basically, his route is from there to 18 away. One man, but why not? One man could pick up 9 hours a week. We pay him, give him the bags. Please pick up for 3 hours, 3 days a week. We on the 25th, we are going to be offering our second shower at El Portal for the price. They've been amazing. It's become probably our most popular shower out at any of the homeless camps we do. We have a lady that brings hot food. Once a month, we have healthcare for homeless. They bring their van out there. They tend to all the needs. I think they're gonna ramp it up to 2 times a month, I think. With my light phone, I'm able to shuttle any of them to any urgent care. So they're getting the medical side, and like I said, once we started doing this thing and getting people there, we've got all these companies that are coming.
That's
So
the one right next to 80.
yes, the one right.
Because I live in that circle of houses, it's right.
Okay, yeah, so we're there Tuesday and Thursday, except donations, all that stuff. And so, yeah, we are wrapping up as much as we can, and definitely it helps us by. Please give us a call. And 90% of our staff is from the unhoused community. So I would love to have more of them on my staff. If I can get more attention out here and do more things, now I can give, rather than the one guy out here, can I have 3 guys? I can have a whole crew that's here. What I've done in other encampments is I create a team out here. They work 12 hours, 4 or 5 guys. I can't do that yet, but I would love to work my way to that and get enough focus out here that I could have an El Sobrani local team that out here 4 hours, 3 days a week, cleaning up each encampment. So that's really what we are doing upcoming. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Lanier?
Oh,
Yes. Good. I'll take one. Thank you. What is other?
Anybody in the room
What?
or anybody on Zoom?
Number
have
of
any
reviews.
questions?
Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
Want another one?
No.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I just want to say one last thing. If you guys see anybody that's in the house community that needs any medical aid, please call me. Because I can get them in instantly, and it doesn't have to be enough that we get calls from the community to help us get those people into their repairs and the mental health they need.
Is this the number?
That's what's number, but you can call that one, rather than me handing my business card out to you, it all comes to me.
Very good. Thank you. Excellent. Great partners and great.
I know the type as well, the neighborhood care line absolutely encapsulates what we're doing, and it helps people to feel really good about calling up so that they know how to look after
We
people.
don't want people just to think we're here for the house, we're here for both sides of that, we want a great relationship with the house, and the house is to be at one end.
And that's what it's.
I just one question for me. Sorry, I'm distracted. So you're thinking maybe to bring some services to the existing encampment in front of.
Well, so we already are creating like better showers. Right now I'm building a water system for them, so we put a water tank out there. So right now, I know when I live there, we used to go to the Rayleigh's parking lot and use our range, and they don't want to do that. Or they tap into the fire hydrant. I'm trying to create that. If I can get, the more service I can get, may come bathrooms. That's a hard one because most of the people that service them don't want to go in and cap. So that's still early in the process. We're still early in the process.
To write that there though, isn't there? Because I've seen
Well,
people
yes,
already
yes,
done
but
that.
not where I would like to put it.
Okay,
So there's more people on one end than there is.
I can talk to you about it.
Yeah, I would love to bring more services there and
I would be
we didn't have any, like I said, any. So what we've already brought is huge. I'm the one that, when the core team who gets people housing, they call us to find people because they don't come here enough, they don't. So.
Okay, wonderful. All right, next up on the agenda, it's an update from the fire owners. From the Euro project, it passed around, seen it already.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
look.
yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't have an image, so, but it's up on Acton at Crane Lane, so it's right near. So we're Triangle Works based out of Sherry. Oh, I'm Sherry at our board. And I'm with the Triangle Works, and we're just small group, but expanding, and we're based out of the old adopting nursery. It's gonna be the Good Table and Planet Justice Nursery. It's under construction now, but they've had some delays, so, and we have a building there, the shed. So it was literally a little shed there, and we're renovating that into a community, building for classrooms. Well, one classroom, it's pretty small. And for the community to help hold community meetings, like this, or, affordable play, but also to make it like a maker space and to hold workshops for people to learn skills and all kinds of things. So we're interested in people teaching and people, holding meetings. And then also for local artists, we also want to support them and have a small retail. Anyway, so that's being renovated now, and meanwhile, our big focus is to build community, and we're focused in that area. And to beautify that area, we'd like to do warm barrels. So this is our first mural project, and it's really a great, the lizard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So we did it June 24th, 25th, just one weekend, and we had the first day, we had like 52 people. Anyway, yeah, we exceeded our expectations, but it was great. And the next day we had more than 40 people, and some people came back. So it was adults and kids, a lot of parents brought the kids, and we just did it from 10 to 2 p.m. Intense, and then yeah. So our muralist Haley Ferreira had stitched it all out. People could just come and paint. So that was the first part, and that the wall turns the corner. So we did the first part on Acton, and the second part is technically in the city of Richmond boundaries. And so thankfully, we're very grateful City of Richmond funding the second part. But they were also required a sidewalk permit. So we were gonna do it last week, or the 8th and 9th, but we had to comply with getting the permit, which takes like a month. So we're hoping to do it August 18th and 19th, but that's a tentative date because we don't have it yet. So we'll get the word out when that second capital one comes.
Is that August 18th, is that funny?
Oh. is that
18th
the-
would be a Friday.
It should,
The
oh,
19th
okay, so it's 19th
is
is
the
Monday.
cleanup.
Thank you. So it should be, yeah, it'll be a Saturday. Yeah, and so thank you for posting it on your site, and it's just, you know, a lot of, just, we went around some of the schools close by and some of the parents started on this. So that's what we say is our first meal, but hopefully to do more community projects, yes, so just thankful that people are looking for things to do.
And it makes our town more beautiful.
Yeah.
And we want to also open up, you know, some ideas about other beautification kind of projects that might happen as well.
Yeah, for the location, yeah, so. If you hear of business owners that want to. I don't know.
Actually, we were just talking to Nicole over the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if she talked to you about it, but she said there's some professional theme of muralist.
Oh, right, there's a, yeah, no.
But for that big wall right at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, no, we've been in contact. And then,
Okay,
so,
I just want to make sure that that's coordination, right? Because
Yeah,
we need to step on each other's toes and not realize.
yeah, no, we're all.
Where is this one? The one you were talking about?
It's that wall.
At the end of, where Appian Road and Valley View converge, that big wall where there's a parking, there's
There's
food
down-
kitchen and everything way up on that really steep driveway.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to drive up.
Oh, right, I don't.
Yeah.
One where there's a front restaurant.
And we have the first Saturday cleanup sign that we have above that. It gets taken down every few months, but.
Outline will, maybe Merle will include a little outline for
Your son.
Sharon.
Here.
Yeah.
A banner like.
Yeah, that's independent, yeah, he has his own design and he just wanted to connect with some, you know, to find a location for it. He's never simply moved to Aspen, so we'll see. So we just kind of connected.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so it's not like our project.
I do love the idea of an artist sketching out the general design and then letting people kind of color it in. So I think people can cope with that and enjoy it. And I think that it's a nice way of bringing the two things together. So it's ends up looking like kind of nice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think if you have an artist team who comes in and gives it a finishing look or make it look more consistent and stuff like that, right? You know, just. There's something, an effort to make it look like an integrated piece of art.
Oh, yeah, she designed,
50 people.
yeah, she designed it and she had, I think it's on the website, did a photo, you know, computer generated photo, and then she sketched out all that. And then we printed out, you know, her vision of it. And so people knew kind of what colors to paint, you know, there. And then she had an assistant and then there were some of the artists who helped people out. Yeah, so there's an overall arching thing, but there was room for
Yeah.
creativity because of the, we ended up fishing that lizard, 2 other kids who wanted to do lizards too. Lizards there. Yeah, I think it was very broad, this house farming, local nature. Yeah, so.
Yeah, what about the utility boxes? I know people, you know, in some communities, they paint them pretty designs with, you know, different things.
Yeah,
That-
they're already. Yeah, and that's years ago, I see all there. There's probably more, but we probably don't notice them if they aren't painted.
Is that something that people can just do? I mean, it's not our property.
Yeah. Goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea what.
Outlaws, do those kind of things.
Elster Beetle is very advanced with the utility boxes. You actually can fill out a application and adopt a utility box. And then submit a design. If it's approved, you get to go do that design. It attracts a lot of artists in El Cerrito. So a lot of, if you ever go down San Paulo Avenue, you get into El Cerrito. you're gonna see the quality of work, it's really phenomenal, because they're artists. And I tried to do some Google work for the county, it's a little more funky, because there's not really someone that specifically asked. Where other, like when it's a city, then you at least configure your way through which department you can ask for permission, or you just do it rogue and just do it.
Yeah, but there is an arts council, the country,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna hopefully.
I think it looks beautiful, because they're, in Oswego.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Really very cool.
Yeah. Do you know, Edgar, if anything that can, if there's a process here?
I think not that I know of. I think that usually the issue when it comes to like public owning like just kind of like facilities and things like that is that the county fears that they have to do like maintenance. It's like Nicole wants to paint a mural on the wall that connects like the triangle.
Yeah.
So I contacted Public Works about that, and they're the owners of that wall. And I think the whole problem, it was like with the grooves, and Public Works fear that there's going to be upkeep that the county will be responsible for. So they were a little hesitant about it. But yeah, in terms of like utility boxes, I can probably ask Public Works and see if they know anything. Yeah.
Yeah, a number of years ago, Spawners worked with Richmond High School, actually, Earth Team, to do the mural here on the side of the building, and there was a big pushback from the county because they were concerned about maintenance.
There's a grant they have every year called Love Your Block.
Oh, that's the grant that we.
Oh, yeah, okay, so.
That's for City of Richmond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, but I happen to have been on the committee this year that approved. And yeah, I was gonna mention that, we can use it to fund murals.
Yeah, so the next,
Yeah.
Could the public works like partner, public-private or public?
I think so.
Nonprofit kind of like.
Yeah.
Have a group that would help maintain it, so they don't need to worry about the.
I think so. I mean, the county has done MOUs in the past, where like they'll first like pay for it, or they'll allow a community partner to kind of like do the maintenance for it, and that's what the MOU is in place for. That's always an option. I think that like I can certainly ask and see what their response is. I know talking about MOUs, with the whole the trash bins that are on San Pablo Dam Road. That was an MOU that was created with the chamber, that if they can have that, they'll be responsible for it. And now, the chamber can't really maintain it. So the county has to, they're looking at whether the county can remove it and the county pay. So that's kind of where it goes with like partnering with private organizations is like, the MOU and like honor system and kind of going off of that. So we'll see. I can ask them and see what their response is.
If it's graffitied up, we could partner with Ramon there.
Ramon is doing the adopt a spotter.
About the highway.
Okay, so yeah, there's
Thank
another.
you.
Yeah, there's the Caltrans, there's a city one, and it's, I forget what it's called, adopt a space or adopt a spot, or, something like that. But yeah, again, you can get grants to get the neighborhood together to, clean up the space or the spot or whatever it is.
Yeah, we're trying to get businesses to adopt their own block or something to clean up.
That'd be good.
And I think downtown's looking more clean than it used to.
Honestly, Ganesh and I were like, this is not bad. I mean, especially the active businesses, businesses that are open and active for the most part, except for one. I mean, they were clean. It was, the most of it was either on the road, the wind blown or, in event, like shuttered places. That's the problem, I think, with that road, is there's so many businesses that are not in business. So many properties that are vacant.
The Dollar Tree still has its graffiti.
Hmm.
On the wall.
Yeah, Chris and I were talking the other day about that idea of possibly having some certification, certificate that businesses that would partner with us and agree to clean up their area, their parking lot, their sidewalk and gutters right around there. And we maybe could make some kind of certificate that they could put in the window that they're a good green kind of restaurant business.
You know, I would just suggest, we thought a little bit about doing something along those lines. And I think it's a great idea, and if you would include the back of the property where their dumpsters are.
Yeah.
And if you go behind some businesses, they are required to have an enclosure around their dumpster and keep a lid on it so the stuff doesn't blow out of the dumpster. But that doesn't mean they do. There are way too many dumpsters, and they're on the back of the properties, or they're along the creek. They're overflowing, the lids are off, so stuff gets blown out. Business is supposed to maintain where their dumpsters are. That makes them fence, because it's behind the building, they sometimes need to be reminded of that. So a good citizen award or something like that.
Right, yeah, good
For
business.
keeping your
award.
property clean,
Yeah,
running and back.
So that's something that we can look into
Yeah.
more and kind of fresh that out as an idea. We good. Any other questions or about the young project or any other beautification ideas? That's in the beautification category. Okay, so next up on the agenda really is talking about our National Coastal Cleanup Day, or National California Coastal Cleanup Day, September 23rd. So if you're going to follow a similar template as past years, we've been having a major cleanup with a major outreach to attack both the streets and the creeks. And so we're going to partner again with SOS and spawners. Yep. Okay. All right. So it's a major cleanup where we try to get as many people as possible. Like I said, with the Earth Day, we had 130 volunteers. And that would mean, making an outreach. Unfortunately, the weekend before is the stroll, where we can also possibly at our booths, and maybe both of our booths, have signups. They're there. Martha, we were thinking that maybe we can have the waivers there. If people want to, is that too soon to sign up? If they came up with their some kind of if they wanted to sign up the week before, so
Then you have to keep, who keeps track of the waivers in the interim,
Yeah.
and then when people come to the cleanup, they have to know that I've already signed a waiver. and they have to build a
we could take, if we do a waiver, I guess we could, make a list, have a master list of people who've already signed, and then we could just sign up for their,
Yeah, that's
for
what,
that.
we need some kind of system like that
Yeah.
in place, to record who was signed a waiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely we plan to promote it and have signups.
Yeah, so we'll need a flyer. For the event is right,
Before the stroll.
and we should probably start working on that soon. Is that something that you want to do again, Chris, or is there something else?
Then maybe get the translation from Councilmember Supervisor Joy's office again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And just for folks' awareness, my last day's on Monday. So this is something that I'll pass along to our team and have them, just in case if you guys don't hear from our office, that's somewhere it got lost. So yeah. Yeah.
Is there a designated El Sobrani coordinator at this point to take your place?
No.
With the best of your sheets?
No, I'm sending everything for El Sobrani to our chief of staff,
Who is?
Sonia Bustamante.
Oh, she did the translation last time.
Oh, yeah. Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll need a flyer. do we want the similar hours that we did last time? It was at 9:30. What do we do?
Whatever we did last time, work with hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, because our normal one is on at 10, and so we made it 9:30 for the birthday.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that's a good amount of time for people to clean up.
And then I think we're planning on having a folks event at the library.
usually it goes like they start signing in, they clean up for 2 hours, make sure they come back around noon. And then we have we want to do food, get sponsors again. And then,
We did that last year on the coastal cleanup. So I was like, oh,
Yeah, I think.
yeah, we did.
The international coastal cleanup is a different date from the California one.
Right, yes.
Okay, so
We are doing it on the California.
Yeah.
and that's the 23rd.
Right.
Yeah, apparently the International Day is also Rosh Hashanah, the holiday and with it, I think.
The coastal cleanup, the coastal commission promotes September as cleanup month every whole month. And any day during the month, we hold the cleanup counts. It's nice to get a little additional publicity by being on the same day as the California event, because other cities will be doing it that same day. So that this be higher public awareness of the event.
Mhm.
So in California, we don't do the international one, we just do the California one.
I mean, it's,
Okay.
yeah,
And,
they used to be the same day,
and the stroll is,
the 17th.
The Sunday before, the following Saturday, so it's just, it's the 17th September.
can't go.
And then you can't go
No,
both days,
well, I can go the 23rd, but I can't
so
go.
you can't do the stroke. And the parade.
Now, in terms of the cleanup, have you guys heard from Tom Schween, the librarian, about doing the event a little differently?
No.
Because so one of our spawners member, Judy, talks to Tom a lot because she's also on the Friends of the Library, and they do book sales and provide funding to the library for that. So the book sales fund the library programs. Anyway, so she's been talking to Tom. I was under the impression he was gonna approach you guys directly. So, sorry, this is the first time you've been hearing it. But he got some pushback from library patrons because it was hard to get in the parking lot. Because the library's open that Saturday. A lot of people like to come to the library on Saturday. Then we asked that we consider doing the sign in and the tool pick checkout and location, all that stuff in the children's reading garden. Because actually, there's a nice little circle there.
Yeah, I was thinking, why not just do it in that
So,
little side?
and especially now that we've done a few events, people are, there's probably a critical mass, people who've done it before. They can kind of say, okay, here it is, they know what the deal is, they know where to go, the people will follow. What I'm trying to say is, having done it before, they will be looking for registration, be looking for all this stuff, and it will have just shifted slightly.
And we can have
Yeah.
direct people over there.
Yeah, we'll take a couple of parking spaces for signage or something this way. And then use the children's reading garden for the registration and waivers, choose your location
Yeah.
and pick up your tools, just go around the circle.
Okay, so we can use that for the process stuff, but maybe the equipment could be near the van where he parks.
Well, as much as possible out of the park.
Yeah.
We can discuss, I mean, obviously the dumpster has to be in the parking lot. And that's a blockage in the later part of the morning when the trucks and trailers come in and unload the dumpsters. There's not too much way around that. But if you have that side block as well as the other side block, then you can't even.
What about turning the dumpster that way?
So the opening space.
Open space now, many for us guys bringing in trucks,
So you don't have to go.
but we had to come in and then kind of like go, get in there, then reverse back here, go back there, but we had it this way. It'd be one shorter route for anybody, I mean, when we're stopping traffic, it's like we're having to stop traffic for 20 minutes for one of our trucks. To get it, probably more than that, I'm just thinking if it's facing this way, we reverse right in, boom, we're done, go right out.
You come in the exit.
We always have been because we couldn't make the turn with our trucks. But then we would have to come that way, get everyone to get out of our way, reverse here, you know what I mean, get it all, in that trailer in that little space, it's not, you know what I mean, but I think if we had it facing this way. It just would make it easier for, and I'm only speaking for our truck, but I think everybody with a truck coming in, there's.
Right.
The shorter way in, even if we, and this just, and I, even if we, you know, I know we have a ton of time. Running around with her and one of our other staff stopping cars, but it would just be easier for us to do that, because short. Basically, people are pulling out, we know to send them around the other way rather than us blocking, because when we did it, we had to block up. The whole thing, rather than having one way, we're just blocking here to here, if the car here needs to go, we're not in their way, they can, well, go off the.
So you mean like, it's against the walls here, but closer to the.
We'll just have
Right.
opening facing the car wash instead of the creek.
The dumpster could still be pretty much in the same place.
Yeah.
And, you know,
The other way.
you still have to have a couple of parking, I just think it's a shorter route, just with a lot less chaos. with that way.
I think the problem,
Near the street would be, that would be taking up, 'cause I think where we're going here, is that parking spaces or is that just?
I think we don't want to take up the handicap parking space,
Yeah,
that's what I
handicap
think,
is
that's
on
the
both sides of the dumpster, but you know.
that's why they've been, let's do it like that.
at least not with the dumpster itself.
Sounds,
I
yeah,
noticed
it's
that.
against.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought we would head along the street of that third area over there.
Yeah, but then they can go off the street.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
we're just bringing out our street, walking the streets anyway.
And I was wondering if we want to do something like that at theme. And theme for this one, like maybe plastics or plastics or something like that. And do more public education, perhaps some kind of display around it. And when I was talking to Terry, who couldn't make it, so I was down, she was wondering if rather than, or somehow or another, if you want to do a children's activity, incorporate some educational component about plastic or microplastics into that.
What about,
Or maybe-
what about talking about reducing the amount of stuff we use? Which is overall reduce, instead of reuse and instead of
It should really need to be promote, reduce, reuse.
Right.
recycle.
You want to use that?
I mean, it could be,
That could be
That's
I mean, it's always a good
possibility.
thing, it's a reminder.
because that's really at the basis of reducing plastics and everything else.
Stop using
What
it.
are some alternatives? How could it become fashionable and cool?
Let's all go back to using cloth. Shopping bags.
Well, I mean, I think we're definitely taking that road.
But remember your survey. A lot of it is the packaging, not the thing itself.
Well, that's it. Can you buy stuff in bulk instead of, buy a big bag of something and put it in your own individual reusable containers? Instead of buying a 12 packs of individual chip packages, buy 2 big bags and give your kids a little rigid reusable container. Then the snacks don't get crushed in the kids' backpack.
I mean, there's certainly schools pushing quite hard to have zero waste lunch boxes.
Right.
And there is definitely lots of ideas that all of us will have about things that have worked for us. There's a lot of, I think it might be quite helpful to have some statistics by sector. Because it turns out that fast fashion is a huge deal in terms of trash and carbon footprint and everything else. And what can you do instead? And like, maybe we could do something about highlighting ideas, reducing how much you use. And one thing that motivates kids quite a bit is that there was some people who managed to have like one little jar of trash after an entire year. And they keep referring to that, they think that's totally cool, and how do you do that? And, I mean, I don't know, but we've all got lots of ideas about that, if we decided to go with that. We could do plastics. The reason I'm pushing a little bit about it is because it's been done so much. That I'm wondering whether it's still something that would catch people's interest.
I think the information still needs to get out there. I think the key would be to find a different way to present it. Because you do get tired of hearing the same message. But looking at the results, not enough people are getting the message, even if the message is not very well. The watershed project used to do some nice big posters And usually they're doing their own cleanups that day, so their posts would be in use, but I can ask them if they would let us use their materials to print some posters. If we could come up with the funding, print them, maybe they would provide us the template of a poster that's already done, that has that kind of information. But they used to have that kind of stuff. I used to work, I don't know if the watershed. I'd be willing to talk to them and see if they can send us, just an electronic version of some graphics they've already done. We would have been paid to print.
It's interesting.
I was gonna say, that sometimes parents like things, like when I do some psychoeducation for parents I work with, I call it parenting and then whatever it is. Like positive parenting is a very, thing that people are using nowadays. So parenting a green kid with the word green around it. And then like what Sue said, putting specific things that parents can do to teach their child to be a green kid. By labeling what you're trying to get the family to do, sometimes market it that way. And put it like on, put that little cheat sheet thing or whatever you want, like on soft green paper. So that way they can take it home, they have it there, and they can look at these, like, let's say 10 ideas or whatever this group can come up with. That's really applicable, that's really practical to do, and they, and the kids feel good about it, and the parents feel good about it, and they're creating sort of this green kid, something like that.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a good idea. The other thing I would think is, talking to Republic about what they've done in the past is just give us kind of a minimal thing, try to maybe get them more engaged earlier on, so that they, if we have a theme or something, they might get to develop some material with it, or be, but we have to think with the idea of working with the science.
Recycling, let's face it, recycling, what to recycle, what not to.
That's my thing too. It's,
Right.
I mean, I think. I always want to choke my husband out because he's always putting things in the recycling, but I'm like, that is not recyclable. But even stuff that I'm putting in there, it's, what is it called, like wishful recycling or what is it? Yeah. Because so much, we think, oh, that's recyclable, like your yogurt container. Actually, it depends on where you are, they're probably not, which is crazy, right? So.
California finally had to pass a law that says you can't put the recycling symbol on a container unless it actually does get recycled.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what they were supposed to be?
But all of these things tell people what not to do. And it's like,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
I know I'm not supposed to do that, but what are some alternatives?
So we need to emphasize what is effectively recycled.
Right.
Plastic water bottles, if they make it to the recycling center, can be melted down and reused over and over.
Right.
Other kinds of
But you
plastic.
could tie that into the other idea of buying in bulk, and
Right.
so if your yogurt container isn't recyclable, so don't buy the little single package, buy the larger one and put it, and think about that way, that you're, at least creating somewhat less. Because it's a compliment.
Besides that, you have to buy the toothbrushes that have the handles made from the recycled yogurt containers. You have to buy the products that are using the recycled plastic.
That'd be a more useful label if they said it was made with recycled stuff, rather than saying it's recyclable if you can find a way to do it. Knowing what's made with recycled stuff would be
Yeah.
more valuable.
Yeah, and
The things that I bought do say that, that's probably why I'm buying.
right, but a lot of times it's made with recycled plastic, but that doesn't mean it can be recycled again.
Well, measuring spoons, I'm gonna use those for a long time.
Sure, yeah, some of the stuff gets used for a long time.
Well, like your concept, I would put something like, think big, make small. And then you do that concept like in bold, and then you explain what that is. Buy what someone said, buy a big yogurt, but convert it into small ones for your kids, or if that's potato chips or whatever. But what I'm saying is like the advertising, go madman on this, you have to advertise it in a way that, because people are tired of being like shoved a lot of stuff at them, so you have to kind of make it like someone said here, so what do you want me to do then? I already hear don't, so then tell me what to do. And if you make it like kind of friendly looking and kind of like, Coca-Cola does great ads and stuff, you make it that kind of concept, people are gonna receive it, much easier.
And yet, the water bottles, the plastic water bottles, I think they can only be recycled a certain number of times.
And I think it's a big mistake to think that if we recycle, we've taken care of our job for the environment.
So yeah, the other thing to do is, get one of those stainless steel, water bottles and keep them from them and stuff.
I think it's pretty much better. I mean, I'm just saying that of the kinds of plastic, the plastic water bottles can be reused multiple times. Many kinds of plastic are so-called recycled, but really they're reused ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, but this is part of it.
I think it's true that a lot of people are more conscious of plastic than they used to be, and yeah, we've worked out a lot of alternatives like water bottles. But for me personally, my downfall is I still buy soy milk and those containers are, I mean, what do you do with that?
Yeah, there's a lot of packaging out there that's not.
I don't have a solution for that.
One of the other things that's really important, I know we're talking about getting rid of waste, but stopping using plastic is part of getting rid of it. So
Reduce,
forget it.
yeah.
And what's happening is they're called pseudoestrogens. The phytoestrogens are in soy and the plants, but the pseudoestrogens are in plastics. And it's highly correlated to very, very low levels of testosterone in the boys and very early puberty in girls as young as 8, 9 years old. So I think if that message was out a little more, and the correlation between that, I think maybe people would just stop using plastic. Or at least start being aware. Just let's say it's a process.
I met this woman in Sebastopol, who's the vice of my niece, who I wanted to invite to one of our things because she's all about reducing trash and stuff like that. So I can try to get in touch with her and see if she has some ideas, but I'm just wondering, so normally you've been doing reading, you've been doing children's activities, but maybe if you can this year, if you want to do something, maybe we can come up with a specific project that they can take that make them more the green kid. I'm a green kid, and this is something I'm going home with that I can, rather than art, method, something cool that they can use to.
I'm thinking about having them look at think about all the different ways that they can reduce how much garbage their family produces, and to make a fridge magnet or to remind their family of what they would like to do. Because you can buy like fridge magnet maker things.
That's
That's
cool.
The
That's
kids
cool.
write on it themselves.
They write on it or they do some moving of bits and pieces, recycle something or other. But that way it would serve as a daily reminder. And it could be some kind of challenge, like how much trash we currently produce, how much can you get it down? And I don't know if we could.
When I taught environmental science as a graduate student, even at the college level, the kids really liked doing the monitor your trash for like 3 days or something in their dorm or something and be like,
Right.
and record like how much this you threw out and how much that you threw out.
And I'd be willing to follow it up.
Yeah.
A week or two later.
Yeah.
To say, okay, so how did you do? Come back to the library next Saturday
Right.
and like show me your bag of trash.
Yeah, that's what actually,
And then we
I
can
said,
talk about-
don't bring in the food waste. So like, we had a different, I can't remember. We had a different way of recording that, but I said like, yeah, for extra credit, bring in your trash.
Right, and I could like write a note to their teacher or something like that to give them a little bit more encouragement, but I'd love to do that. I mean, the idea of having them really think through, what is it that I do in my life? That I could substitute something, and they're pretty smart about how to do that.
And that engages the kid directly.
And it engages the kids.
Intervision parents is great, but I think the kid as well.
Right,
So it's not the parent telling the kid what to do, you can call it kid too.
and then the kids nag their parents, and we all know this is very effective.
Yeah, I know it's more effective. Kids teaching.
It's going to be greener than the parents.
Yeah. School is basically made American cycle, and they also had a very big role in smoke cessation. So, anyway, we need to keep going.
So, yeah.
So we could
spend a lot of time.
we could
on
spend a
that,
lot
yeah.
of time on this, and I've noted down everyone's ideas, and I don't, anyway, I'll share that with my neighborhood list, which I think some of you are on. Discussing conceptualization. Are we ready to move on to the next?
Well, any more about, I know we're gonna have more meetings about, planning meetings for
Right,
the
right.
coastal cleanup, that won't be a part of this subcommittee, it'll be more like the green team will
Mhm.
take that right on. And
We're only talking about 2 months out.
I know we're only talking about, it's only 2 months out, so we have to, at least if we do we want to do the same, reduce, reuse, recycle? Or the-
I think any way to
on
plan
the flyer,
that kind of information is useful.
okay. Yeah,
And maybe tie it into the whole idea that anything, that we can do, to prevent things like that from going downstream to the ocean,
Yeah.
into the creeks and everything, that it's all tied in together to tie it into the coastal.
How do we teach
Stop
them?
it at your own house.
Yeah.
Never mind the straw that gets in the sea turtles, no, it's like, how about you never use that straw, sea turtle would be fine. So, well, yeah.
Maybe at
You would be
some
fine
point,
too.
like this,
You would be fine.
This saying is a common thing, so it's good to use it because people recognize it. Maybe the next saying is gonna be refuse to use. It might have to embed in this a little more to be able to have that. And I think you were gonna ask for what suggestions we have about what areas, or is that another, Another place. okay?
Yeah, but at a future, before we have the same, we do have a big map that we made up of.
You know, it's along the freeway, and I know it's unsafe for us, go out and
That is student.
but it's
Where?
oh, really?
I don't seem like get to it, no.
They-
I mean, matter where it's on.
Caltrans says a lot, just get on the freeway.
Camping along the freeway and the.
For the
By-
media,
by where
it's
you're at?
entry to another county, so it's on this.
I mean,
No,
the church.
like,
Well, what-
Yeah.
That's the place where you can put problems on their website.
Yeah, actually, they do. But we'll have to come up with that as well. So,
So wrapping up with coastal clean, but how are we gonna handle the fact that it's only 2 months away? We're gonna have some more meetings by Zoom or something like that?
yeah, we'll have probably Zoom for,
Organizational meetings between the organizations.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
rather than
really
the ESMAC committee only meets, every few months.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, just need to have specific targeted, we already have the basic framework of the event.
So let's move it straight to the
if
group.
people want to participate in their planning, let us know. And add you to our Zoom invitations as well.
And if you don't think that we've got what we know,
If you get my cleanup, if you participated in one of our cleanup big towns, you'll get a notification about it, but actually, it is a smaller group that is involved in the planning rather than just coming and participating, so we need to know, and we can always use, good volunteers who want to help plan this out.
Planning, publicity.
right,
So, do we want to pick out a time now for like an online next meeting? Would that be good to do, or what do you think, or should we just like?
for the first cleanup day or for the parade as well, because we have both of these.
Yeah, right, you have to.
We talk about that next and then come up with the dates and meets, so we
Resume this something like the
The- the
the
parade.
That's great, yeah.
and the stroll.
These are already apart, right?
Yeah, they're 1 week apart.
They're 16. Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to do the meetings together, then just divide it in half.
Right.
Yeah, we'll just do.
If one would participate in the cleanup, and then the other one.
Oh, that's what I'm
Okay, that sounds fine, we can do that.
Right.
At least have our showers there.
So there's not that much to say actually, yeah, because we do need a separate meeting since you want to do your own thing at the stroll.
Right.
Are you having?
Yeah, but competitors at the stroll, I mean. Yeah.
You can sign up, and you don't have to pay, there's a Else Bronte Chamber of Commerce sign up
I
sheet.
really think you should.
And yeah, you can have,
Where am I have that, or do I need to go online?
you can have this, I can. just
Okay,
print
I
out
can take it,
it.
I can't.
I can
but it's
print
not-
out the-
And if you guys decide not to do your own booth, I think Honors and probably Green Tea would be happy to pass out your flyer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Hey, you probably, a lot you have going on, so I think you want to go on stage.
yeah, I mean, because I was wondering, like, to spare our showers, that, no one really knows what we're doing nowadays. I think we've done a lot of trash things, but we're tucked away in our hotel, doing the showers, no one really.
We absolutely should have a booth. I think it should be a real presence in our town.
And maybe even at the parade.
That's why, I want to be in both of them.
As well.
I think so.
That would be wonderful. I think that would be really good.
They were supposed to have them last time, but then they.
Yeah.
Got
the
rained
radar
out,
and stuff was
rained out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair weather.
Yeah. We'll be more resilient.
So we don't have to spend too much time about the stroll. We'll have a booth there. I don't know if the MAC is gonna have a booth this time, and I think they had a canopy, which they didn't have last time. And they.
But Mac always has a booth, right? I mean.
Well, I don't know if they did last time.
Not last time. It was raining.
It was too.
I should have a Macintosh.
Yeah, yeah.
So, they're gonna be there. I'd like to have, more information. We need to figure out a way to hang out. For this public information, some of the information that we're gonna have for the coastal cleanup. That we're gonna give out that day, we could also give out at the stroll. Or information pieces about reuse, recycle, things like that.
We're gonna have a green team booth, right?
We're gonna have a green team booth, but we should, yeah, I'd like to split it up and figure out a way to hang out more information, and then we also want to be in the parade, so I just wanted to, for the people who want to participate in the stroll with the green team, we are thinking about having a meeting, and we can meet in our yard.
For the parade practice.
For the parade practice, and come up with some ideas of what we're gonna do this time. Last time we did a lot of chants and drums and stuff, and we might want to do similar thing this time, but maybe up it a little bit more.
Yeah, we have to.
Some choreography or do something.
Puppets, everyone knows.
Puppets?
The big puppets, yeah.
Yeah,
We build big puppets, not that I have any skill in it, but
That's built, so you get it.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh,
If you
yeah.
have a giant puppet with a giant
Trash.
grabber that's
Yeah.
big.
okay, I'm gonna look like, why did you even bring that up?
Okay. Or, somebody dressed funny or something like that.
Great, you have to have.
Yeah, we have to do something fun, so
Some
I'm suggesting for the first meeting for
Kirby
that
Kirby's.
one. Maybe like August, 5th or 6th. That sound like for the parade stroll.
What day of the week we talking about?
Hmm?
I don't know what days of the week we got to talk about.
So that would be like 2 weeks, if we want to do it that weekend, Saturday or Sunday. Now, we had a major, for those of you who don't know, we had a major tree catastrophe in our yard. And we had a beautiful canopy and made a nice shady area, so that we had to, one of our trees fell and then we had to take down a lot of canopy, so it's pretty sunny now until about 4 o'clock. So
So
we
how about Sunday, August 6th?
at 4,
4 o'clock?
so that's where, whoever wants, you want to be in this?
Yeah.
What's your name?
that.
Oh, yeah, you were there last week.
No.
There was a different line. There was another, and our last third Saturday. Oh, I was there. How was you? Was your husband?
Yeah, just like on the
No, we didn't.
last weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
with my
okay,
husband,
yeah, right. And your husband's in it?
Well, yes.
So if you want to be in it.
Yeah. So
Come
it's
on.
not gonna be now that.
It was very fun. We had a blast and rehearsals with her too. Yeah, and okay, so we don't have to spend time on that today, talking about the stroll and the parade. I didn't know if we wanted to get into any, on the agenda was like public education campaign ideas, if anybody wants to talk about more of that at this point.
I'm just interested to increase people's connection to nature, which is like a slightly different thing. And so I'm kind of interested in what people think about the idea of, for example, running an iNaturalist group where we go out and try and find different local species and come back and report what we found and look at some of the data that's going on with, because this stuff all goes back to scientists, and we can look and see what trends are happening with turkeys and coyotes and all that kind of thing. And I don't know, I just really would love us to improve our connection to nature.
Like it's an annual bird count or whatever.
There's an annual bird
Use,
count, we
they
get
have
the
these
bird
apps where you can identify the bird.
Right, right, we could do bird counts, we could do, small stuff like that as well, and I just wanted to gauge whether there's any interest in something like
Just
that.
wanted to point out that I'm also a member of the Golden Gate Audubon
Oh,
Society.
right,
Which
okay,
has always been focused on the East Bay and San Francisco, and they now have a new, what they call their Richmond Initiative Committee. They're making a concerted effort to do more outreach to West Contra Costa. And so that's actually part of why we have an Audubon leader leading one of our spawners. Spawners normally holds nature walks in the summer, and so part of their Richmond Initiative, they agree to provide a leader, so
that's already happening,
it's already happening.
but it's not just for birds, like not for mice.
Well, Golden Gate Audubon, yes, is focused on birds, but they're also focused very much on nature awareness, getting people engaged in nature.
That's safe, I'm just set up something.
And some of the native plants you get to, native plant identification too. I know we have these people gardens that are native plants, like our neighbor has a.
Well,
sort of like-
Spawners was on the native plant tour, so a local resident. Technically, she's San Pablo, but she's running the board of San Pablo in spring. Abby Kramer runs, bringing back the native garden tour every spring. And we've been on the tour the last couple of years, so that's the native plant.
And
We could talk further too about the BioBlitz idea, because there's a particular weekend or time of year where they really promote. Lots of cities doing like a BioBlitz challenge or something like that. We can maybe tap into something that's already going, so the BioBlitz is connected with iNaturalist. Basically, it's just that, get everybody, little bit of training, put the app on your phone and go out and document everything you can find in a given area in a given period of time. But, a little bit of information ahead of time as to how to.
Perhaps we could exchange information.
Yeah.
later.
I did this with a friend when I was more active on iNaturals when I first discovered it. I was telling her about it and then got her to put it into her phone and we went on a walk and yeah, she's trying to put something in and she said, oh, I can't put it in. You
So would that include like cleaning up, like if you're gonna be out on a trail or something, would people be doing like cleaning up?
I hadn't thought of that aspect, I'm actually mostly thinking about connecting
Yeah,
more closely with nature, but there'd be no reason why if you're out there looking and you see a rash around, what you pick it up.
So something I know, so you really understand how to work on Google Docs. There might be a better choice, but an everyday thing that really connects us to nature is the sunrise or the sunset. And if people would take a picture of the sunrise, even if it's a nothing photo, and just have a kind of a record of that, and have it be a common site where everyone can just sort of see what was it like for you to see it. And it's emotionally very connecting. It's not a walk, it's not a count, which is also very important, but it's an everyday, almost meditative practice. Yeah, it's big. So,
I think if you have other public education campaign reviews, personally, I'd like to see, as part of a beautification message, or maybe this is not, that you just need to get messages out there, don't be a little bit stuff, somehow or another infuse that in the consciousness more. It was such a big campaign when I was a kid and growing up, and it was just ingrained in us that you're not supposed to live that people do. So somehow or another, we need to it'd be nice to get into, get something going more along those lines, and maybe incorporating it in the arts. And maybe having like signs, you know, like having students or something come up with signs or flags that we could put along, say, on down road. Or something like that as reminders. Or short of an art thing, maybe that would be something for a digital sign that we could put somewhere, you know, with inspirational messages, you know, or number or resources. Like, if you see dumping or something, you know, call this number and, you know, things like that.
So you're talking about a monument sign
Yeah, I'm talking about a monument sign, you know,
for $20,000?
yes, something like that, because I know John Joy has in the past had said that we could get like a welcome to El Sprante kind of sign or rock or something. They've done that in other places, but instead of a big rock, maybe we have, you know, monument sign. I think there's different things, different funds or something maybe we could tap into. We have to look into that on how we can do that. But you know, it'd be nice, and we need, like we talked about, having a community bulletin board and of some sort, and we could use it for those purposes. So, putting out inspirational messages that people know about, you know, things that are happening in the community or meetings and things like that. So that's something to look into, and I think we're even gonna look into that on the map and on the subcommittee. But I would like to, it would be cool to have something all around town. You know, that ties in the messages that we want to see, and maybe we can ask the kids to, you know, suggestions, what's a good message that, you know, in 5 words or less or something. You know, something like that.
I know that Sheldon is going to be doing a big drive to do more project-based learning and STEM and STEAM into their curriculum. And I'm meeting with the principal about that in August. And this is a potential for some kind of real world project that the kids might be able to do. So that would be fleshed out and done in conjunction with the school kids. So,
Yeah, especially local. Yeah, our local community, get the kids more invested in them, like, you know, taking pride in.
Yeah, not just doing digital messages, but doing actual messages.
Yeah, I mean, that's a separate thing, but yeah, if we could do something artsy, pretty around town, you know, to raise the consciousness and, you know, cool thing to pursue.
I've seen, you know, up in the Sierras, along particular highway, I've seen billboards about fire prevention.
Right.
And it was apparently a contest amongst local school kids to design these billboards. And, you know, you need some coaching to actually get a kid to do something that really functions as a billboard.
Right.
But they had some pretty decent ones that were eye-catching.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not your standard, you know, professional looking message. It's clearly a kid done, but the message is conveyed very well.
Well, I'll go and see what kind of things are possible, and then they need to have a fair amount of latitude to figure out how to get.
I mean, I'm not in favor of any great big signage adding to what we already have, but we already have billboards and we rent a billboard. If you can rent a billboard, I think that's some money and put up your own poster for a change.
Right.
Rather than adding more.
You don't want to have that ad for dentist. Okay.
Okay, so let's just together, can we figure a date to Zoom for the planning for the poster cleanup?
We can try. I don't have my full calendar, but
Yeah, we can try. I mean, I could
maybe that's.
I could-
right in the middle of this meeting.
I could put out a message and,
So I can.
but if there are a couple dates that we think, you know, how soon do we want to do this? I mean, it's like, it is only 2 months away, so we really could start the planning. Is next week too soon for a Zoom?
Oh,
Are you out of town?
sorry.
2 weeks?
Yeah, I would be back, what about Monday the 31st? Anytime that is.
Later that week.
Oh, that would be the second, Wednesday, the 2nd of August. What do you think about that?
For Zoom.
You're talking about the 31st or the second?
The second?
On the second,
How many people does that work? How many people does the second work for?
Works for me.
How many people does the first work for? Tuesday the 1st? Okay, how many people does the Thursday the 3rd work for? Looks like we have more people who can come on the 3rd.
I'm just raising my hand. I'm actually on all those people.
let me just, actually, let me see.
Thursday the 3rd.
Yeah. What's a good time to start a Zoom meeting?
Thursday again?
30 or 7. That works. 6:30.
For dinner, that's great.
So I'll put out August 3rd, 6:30 for the coastal cleanup plan.
And August the 6th, what time?
August the 6th will be for the spring.
6:30.
No, 4. Yeah,
And that's by Zoom or that's?
and then, no, that would be at our house, in our yard.
Which one is, so is this one, where is this coastal cleanup plan meeting? Will that take
Next
place
Zoom.
here?
Zoom.
It'll be by Zoom. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. We got a lot of it organized last year by Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom works. Okay.
And
And then, maybe we can have like, we can start conceptualizing before then, and hopefully have some more ideas. More flesh out, so we can pick up.
All right.
Hopefully, my husband's in charge of Zoom. And hopefully you'll get really well. I'm gonna have my. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about sponsors and whatever else we need for the coastal cleanup day.
I know if you do food, then said you would get his friends at the bottles.
Where?
The Indian restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah, is it
Which one?
possible to get
The
eight
bottles,
of the
it's
time?
in the bottles, so Zia's and Donna Maria's. You might be able to get alcohol.
The town hall.
It's a free Indian grocery store and a market and an Indian restaurant.
It's a market?
Yeah,
It's
the one that's
for
right
the
in the.
alliance.
Yeah.
Is you like.
How do you
understand that? Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pam has a question?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt, but I thought maybe it was a break, so I could just ask, could we put the date of the town hall, October 7th? It's the Alliance for the Action on Homelessness and Fire Safety Town Hall.
Okay.
And then there's 2 movie nights.
Will you send us the
Yeah,
information on it so we can put it on details about the
Sure.
beautiful value book?
Sure.
Okay.
It's 2 movie nights, July 29th and August 18th. And
He also not the week, but
Here, take one of these.
Oh, yeah.
Dan. Our sticker,
and it's also on these.
it's also on the
Oh, yeah.
thing.
You got other emails that are keep it simple.
Any other announcements or last minute thoughts about this? Well, thank you, everybody, for coming and caring about the town and wanting to make it more beautiful. We're beautiful, recognizing you. And hope to see you at the upcoming meetings in the future. Are you interested in it? Planning for the? Are you interested in planning for the coastal cleanup as well?
I can email you, thanks to
Sam.
but I wrote the date down, it's just, leave it up to you, I'm not sure that anyone.
Okay.